There's a version of history that doesn't survive in textbooks. Not because historians don't know it, but because everyone who lived through it had a reason to lie. In the winter of 1476, a man died. A man whose name made soldiers pray before battle. A ruler whose reputation was so terrifying that armies sometimes turned back rather than face him. Vlad the Impaler. History gives you a neat ending. They say he died heroically in battle, cut down by Ottoman forces. A warrior's death. Clean. Honorable. But here's the problem. Nobody actually knows how Vlad died. And the more you look at the evidence, the clearer it becomes that the official story exists because the truth was too dangerous to survive. To understand why his death was erased, you need to understand who Vlad really was. Vlad III ruled Wallachia, a small kingdom trapped between empires. To the south, the Ottomans. To the north, Hungary. Wallachia should have been crushed and forgotten. But Vlad refused to play by the rules of normal warfare. He understood something most rulers didn't. That fear could do what armies couldn't. In 1462, as Ottoman forces advanced, Vlad retreated deliberately. Not in panic. With calculation. Behind him, he left a message. Thousands of impaled bodies. Men, soldiers, prisoners, enemies. Some alive. Some rotting. A forest of death. When Sultan Mehmed II arrived, the same man who conquered Constantinople, he didn't find an army waiting for him. He found terror. Even hardened veterans were shaken. Some accounts say the army refused to advance. Others say Mehmed himself turned back. That humiliation could never be allowed to stand. But Vlad wasn't killed then. Instead, he was destroyed slowly. His own allies turned on him. Hungary's king, Matthias Corvinus, arrested him. Not for treason, but convenience. To justify imprisoning a Christian ruler, forged letters appeared. Letters claiming Vlad had secretly allied with the Ottomans. Modern historians agree they were fake. But Vlad spent 13 years in captivity anyway. 13 years. The terror of Europe reduced to a political inconvenience. By the time he was released, the world had moved on. His enemies had grown comfortable. His supporters were gone. In 1475, Matthias released him not out of mercy, but usefulness. The Ottomans were becoming a threat again. Vlad was sent back to reclaim his throne. He succeeded. And then, less than 2 months later, he was dead. This is where history starts lying. Some sources say he died in battle. Others don't agree on where, or when, or how. Ottoman records barely mention his death at all. Strange for a sultan who documented victories obsessively. One theory says Vlad was killed by his own men, mistaken for an enemy in the chaos of winter fighting.
Un tragique accident.
Another theory is darker. That Wallachian nobles, the same families who murdered his father and brother, conspired to kill him before he could consolidate power. And then there's the body. Vlad's head was sent to Constantinople and displayed. That part is consistent. But his grave, empty. The monastery believed to hold his remains was excavated centuries later. No body, only animal bones. Someone removed him. Another site revealed a headless skeleton, roughly the right age, in a monastery Vlad himself founded. But it was never conclusively identified. No DNA tests. No confirmation. Just ambiguity. And ambiguity is useful, because everyone benefited from the same lie. The Ottomans got a victory. Hungary got redemption. The Wallachian nobles avoided being called assassins. And Vlad? He became a legend instead of a victim. That's the real ending. The man who ruled through terror didn't lose to an army. He lost to narrative control. They didn't just kill his body. They erased the truth of his death. Because the most powerful weapon isn't fear. It's deciding what people remember. 500 years later, we are.